It's just been game changing, and I just love the way I look, and just I feel good with my shirt off, and I look in the mirror for the first time in many years. I feel good about myself, and I like the way I look.
Where I want to start with you, because I think this is super interesting. Since I've known you, we've only been friends for a relatively short period of time.
Yep.
You've like transformed your body.
You're damn right.
Yeah. In just a matter of months, seemingly overnight, you've lost more than 20 pounds.
Yeah, we're at 24 pounds now.
How'd you do it?
Cocaine and Ozempic, a lot of Ozempic. It's a combo that I do that a lot of people don't.
It's a cocktail.
Yeah, it's a cocktail that I invented. They say like consult a doctor for even like combining legal medicines, but I decided to just go for it, you know.
Cocaine and Ozempic.
And to all of you who are listening, I don't want to obviously send people down the wrong direction before they're running to the local store and coke dealer. That's a joke. It's fentanyl for me.
Fentanyl.
And 80%, I get that 80% of the time with fentanyl, it's instant death. I do get that. But just think 20% of the time, like, you look skinny as fuck. You look good. Yeah. So it's like, for me, the gamble's worth it. A lot of people probably shouldn't take that gamble. You know, viewer discretion advised. Take your own risk.
Yeah.
And then in reality, what I did was a couple things. So, you know, I just wanted to change my life. I wanted to change my approach to health. My father passed away, as you know, 6 months ago now, but at the time it was like 4 months ago. And he was a little bit overweight, or maybe, you know, technically obese considered. You know, he looked fine, but
wow.
he wasn't healthy in that way. And we don't know what caused his death, but I don't think any of that could have helped. And
yeah. How old was he?
He was just 72.
72.
Yeah. And so, and just died suddenly. And so I just didn't want that. And one of my best friends was also pretty shaken by my dad's passing and did this thing called Prolon fast, this 5-day fast mimicking thing. And so I tried it, and I was talking with you about it, and you were skeptical and advised me not to do it. But the reason I wanted to do it, beyond even just, I thought it was very cool, and what they say is that it helps regenerate not only your cells, but it's supposed to kill precancerous cells, like specifically targets them with their formulation, and that sounds pretty good to me. But I just loved the mental challenge of it more than anything. It was 5 days, and day one's 1,200 calories, and then the next 4 days is 800 calories a day, only on their specific like soups. You get like a packet of olives you look forward to for like 2 days. That's like got like 8 olives in it, maybe 7 little olives. That's like your big splurge.
Olives,
dude.
Damn.
And I mean, it changed the game. And so I did it, but what was crazy about it, I was just, in the past, I've done lots of different diets and attempts at things, and they last for a minute, but I was always hungry the whole time. I was always thinking about food the whole time. And on this, for some reason, I was not hungry.
Interesting.
Once in the 5 days. I think I was just so focused. I finally kind of hit like the rock bottom of not looking good. And plus, the other motivation, to be perfectly honest, is I was going to Burning Man 1 month later, and I wanted to be able to take my shirt off and dress in some skimpy-ass clothes. Shouldn't be the girls dressing hot and skimpy at Burning Man, even though it's a big plus of Burning Man. I wanted to be my own skimp.
Yeah, I get it.
Be a little bit slutty out there, there in that desert.
Yeah, you gotta flaunt it, you know?
Yeah, dude. Plus the dust covers the parts you don't want. You know, you can rub some dust on you and cover some of them rolls.
Exactly.
But I wanted to get closer to my goal.
I feel you, bro.
Thank you. And so I wanted to go hard with it, and for the first time, like, my desire to look better and feel better and be healthier just far outweighed my desire to eat tastier foods. And like, my family, like, we eat huge portions. My mom's always like, have more chicken. I just had 6 pieces of chicken. Have 2 more. Have more. And like, I can't see food out at like a buffet or out at a party and not like have copious amounts of it. Like, I'll have like 30 pieces of like broccoli dipped heavily in ranch, or like cauliflower heavily in ranch. I'm not actually a broccoli guy, but carrots and cauliflower, or, you know, cakes or desserts, whatever, ice cream. And I just I've won eating contests. I've won 2 of them. And like,
which eating contests?
I won one with my fraternity brothers back in college, where we were coming back from formal, and first year, me and my buddies did it heads up, me and my buddy Chong, and then everybody else got in on it the next year, and like, we stopped at like multiple fast food places, like 6 of them in the course of like 2 hours.
Whoa. Panda
Express, Taco Bell, like Subway, McDonald's, Baskin Robbins, like an enormous amount of food, multiple, like 3-4 items each place. And I win that shit on a live stream show I'm about to do the last episode of, but called SDSC. We did a hot dog eating contest. I had 20 hot dogs in a 90-minute show.
Oh my God.
And so
Bun and all?
What's that?
Like bun and all?
No bun. But it was still a lot. It was a lot.
Those
Once
are
you
a
get
lot, yeah.
the first 10 aren't so bad, and then it becomes quite a hefty situation, and you regret everything about your life.
I'm sure.
And so I can eat. And so shifting from being like, you know, an enormous amount of calories per day that I would eat on average, and a lot of late night eating. I'm a night owl, and I would do that. All of a sudden, I just wanted to be healthy and skinny and look good and feel good. And I was not hungry on 800 calories. And by the end of that 5 days, I was like barely even looking forward to other foods. Didn't want candy again, didn't want whatever. And when it hit midnight on the 5th day, you still should have waited till the morning, but when it hit midnight, I had this like bowl of grapes all week in my fridge, and I took one delicious, huge looking, juicy grape, and I allowed myself at midnight to eat one grape. And I just looked at this thing, and I was like, it's so juicy, and there's so much nourishment in this here grape. And I just took the tiniest bite of it, and it like all this juice like tasted so good in my mouth, and like after a couple bites of it, it like spread around my mouth like a full grape. And I was like, I can take little bites of this grape. And I took, no joke, 12 bites of one grape, and it felt completely like I was eating 12 grapes. And probably took the time I would normally eat 30 grapes in, because I was really savoring it. And I was able to not take another grape. And that's what I did for the rest of the time. The last 2.5 months now, I've just been eating like what I call microdosing food. I've had this theory for a million years, and never really had the self-control to try it, but that you can eat pretty much whatever you want as long as you just keep the calories low and like don't overindulge, really appreciate, be present in every moment, enjoy the taste of every single bite.
Yeah.
Go slow. Not a strong suit of my family in general historically either, or my own. And so I eat now. I generally am eating very clean, very healthy. I am kind of accidentally intermittent fasting. I just kind of cut off eating food maybe at like midnight, but I'm up till 3 or 4 a lot of nights, 5 o'clock, and I kind of just wake up and I'm not as food focused, so I'm not hungry in the morning, and I usually skip breakfast. And so I'm kind of intermittent fasting a lot, but when I have a craving for anything, I just eat it, and I just eat a tiny amount. So I came back from Burning Man, where I looked very good, by the way, and had so many girls.
Yeah, I've seen the receipts.
You're damn right. Saying to me like, damn, you look good. Like girls that saw me a month earlier and did not say that. And we're like, wait a minute, what happened here? And calling me hottie. I'm like, I haven't experienced that in a very long time.
Were you at your heaviest that you'd ever been prior to doing the Prolon thing?
No, but close. My heaviest was like 223, and I was at 215. And now I'm at 191.
Wow.
And so I want to get back down to my high school weight of 185.
185?
185. And then I'm going to put on muscle from there. But I just want to get that fat.
Nice.
Keep rolling off, get some of them, well, as my friend referred to them, cum gutters showing more. I don't know why they're called that, but apparently the sides of your body, when the lines show, I don't know why they're called that. Justine Marino term. I blame her entirely.
Yeah, I don't think I want to know.
No, me either. And I regret saying it, to be perfectly honest. I regret it so much. But I wanted them lines. I wanted to look good. And so I just microdose food. So I had my fridge and freezer combo thing that I had in my shift pod at Burning Man in my living room after Burning Man, just literally sitting in front of my view like 80% of my days. And in that freezer, Haagen-Dazs vanilla ice cream, just straight up delicious Haagen-Dazs. And I would never be able to know what that's in front of my face and not eat the whole pint in one sitting.
Right.
Especially with a little marijuana thrown in that I do sometimes indulge.
Yeah.
And in 1 week, like the first week back, I had ice cream 3 times. But each time, I literally had 4 spoons only. And each spoon was a half spoon, just like a little spoon. And I made 3 or 4 bites out of each spoon. And it was completely the experience of eating a whole bowl of ice cream or a whole pint.
I love it.
With just 4 little spoons. And I probably had 50 calories of ice cream instead of 900 calories of ice cream. And so I'm indulging whenever I need to. And if I have a craving, I go for it. And sometimes I'll eat a little more that day and I won't lose weight, or I'll gain a little bit the next morning. But most days I'm losing weight when I get on that scale. I'm using this Renfo scale. It's super dope. It's like $25 on Amazon. And it measures all your metrics. And
Do you weigh yourself at a certain point in the day?
Yeah, every day, every time I get out of bed, after I use the restroom, before I eat or drink anything. And always just with the boxer briefs on.
Yeah.
In case the neighbors are peeking in, I want them to have a good time.
Yeah, of course.
You know how that goes.
Got to think about the neighbors.
You have to give them a show, otherwise they give noise complaints when you stay up late.
Exactly.
And so it's just been game changing, and I just love the way I look, and just I feel good with my shirt off. When I look in the mirror for the first time in many years, I feel good about myself, and I like the way I look, and I'm wearing tighter shirts, and I have girls rubbing up upon my nipples accidentally and or on purpose and saying, damn, have you been working out? And, I try to work out an hour a day, 6 days a week of anything, but like even just walking, or I've been doing a lot of push-ups and sit-ups, not even going to the gym at all in this time, and I'm transforming my body. And
Amazing.
Thank you so much. I mean, off air, correct me if I'm wrong, but the quote you said was, "You've never seen a man who looked so good and you're jealous."
Yeah, that's exactly
the words that you said. You said, "Don't repeat that on the air because."
Yeah, don't repeat that. But,
and I never would.
Yeah, there's never been a better looking specimen.
Thank you.
Show.
Thank you so much.
No, it's true. And so, other than how you look, obviously, which is amazing, like Adonis himself,
Thank you.
incarnate.
Thank you.
In 2023.
Go on. Yep.
And the number on the scale. Has it changed how you feel generally? Do you, because I know that you live a pretty high pressure lifestyle.
Yeah.
You host this incredible show on YouTube. You're staying up all hours, performing stand up. Has it increased your energy levels? Has it improved your digestion?
So yes, I mean I feel great, but I generally feel pretty good in my life. So I generally feel pretty healthy and have tons of energy in my whole life. So even when I was a lot fatter than this and not in good shape, my energy was pretty good. So I can't say that I'm like bouncing in a different way, but I just feel really healthy and I feel good and my posture is completely transformed.
Interesting.
Well, that's a whole nother thing, but I've had this very crazy, very intense year, the worst year of my life. I mean, for sure, with just I was engaged and my fiance and I broke up, really mostly her decision, and then my dad passed, and I got attacked by a dog. And
have you found a way to get your current after pics into your ex-fiance's inbox?
No, I haven't. I've decided
to see you now.
I want nothing else to do with any of her boxes of any kind. But I do hope she sees it at some point. But I've moved on from it. A few months ago, I would have been into it, but I've just closed that chapter. I'm just so disappointed in the way she handled things afterwards. And by the way, this horrible year ends in like 10 days. Literally, she moved out October 30th of last year. Oh, wow. And so I can't wait for that date to pass, even though it's kind of arbitrary, obviously. But I just feel good about myself. So I went in, but I had all these blocks, and I wasn't like focusing on my work a lot and wasn't focusing on the next level things in my life. And a friend of mine, Ali Shaper, recommended I go and see this guy. I don't even know if I should say his name. I'll just say his first name, Peter, because it's kind of this like underground thing. He's just like this intuitive guy that like you meet with him and he like talks to you a little bit and kind of intuits what's going on with you. And I told him about my whole horrible year. I'm like, and I have bad posture, and I sit there, and then this happened to my dad. Like I attacked my dog, and we talked for 90 minutes, and he's like hitting me in the chest and like trying to push me through this this very intense experience. At the end of the whole thing, he says to me, "You know what your biggest problem is? Your posture." And it just made sense. And he elaborated. It's like you're kind of like keeping your whole energy bent over, and you're like playing small and feeling small, and like you need to take up your space and own your vibe. And all of a sudden, it just resonated so strongly, and it felt like I was letting myself like kind of crumple down. Wow. And since he said that, my posture is transformed. I'm 6'1". I just did a show at a conference, this Patel conference, and some guy said to me, "I thought you were 6'5" on stage." Like, and I usually look 5'9". I look like so hunched over. I look like an old Russian grandmother. I'm not even Russian. I don't know why I said Russian, but you get the point. Like I'm walking somewhere like an old village with a metal basket and a shawl over my head. And I just stand tall now, and it's just that, along with the health, it just goes hand in hand, and I just feel like I'm so much more in control of myself, and I'm getting back my old skills of manifesting my future better.
Wow. Yeah, when you're on stage, you take up a lot of space. I mean, it's so much energy.
Because I was fatter, you mean?
I mean, that. But no. I mean, not that at all. It's like you really are like, you're just so in your element. You can tell when you're on stage. Yeah, you're just so good at what you do.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I mean, we were on the Summit at Sea ship together, and that was just a wild experience. That also, at the exact same time, that was just like 4.5 weeks after my dad passed. We were on this big cruise ship at this, like conference / party at sea, basically. And I ended up kind of like, from all accounts, like taking over the ship. Like my show was the highlight of this ship, and
yeah.
Did that
surprise you?
Well, only because I've been performing at Summit for like 11 years, and I've been crushing it every time. And this is the first time that like there was just an obvious, like I always killed it, and people loved the show, but this is the first time like it was the talk of the boat. And I've had hundreds and hundreds of people reach out afterwards, and I've had like 50 meetings scheduled, and people wanting to hire me for consultations, help them rewrite their TED Talk, help them make it funnier, more impactful, help coach them on public speaking, help when they want to invest in this huge project I'm about to do. I'm about to create something really big that's going to be this big online project, and I found this like gap in the market that also aligns perfectly with my dreams, so it seems like a thing to pursue. And people reached out in a major way, and it's just like all conflated at the same time. I just like, after a really hard time, things are just lining up, and I just feel like I'm connecting to things in a really cool way. But the hard part is that, I film all my shows, and I got to release that content. And every thumbnail and every video I'm releasing, I look way worse than I look right now. And so I've done all this work, and all you see on my profile is this much chubbier version of me, which more power to you. If you want to be chubby, do it. But that's not my vibe no more. I'm hottie now with rubbable nipples, and I want the world to know that.
Hottie with a body. Mm-hmm. How do you? I find that a lot of comedians in LA, there's this culture of, well, at least there's a place, Cantor's in LA. It seems to be this hub where post-show, last time I saw you perform, you ended up at Cantor's.
Yeah.
What is it about that place? Is it, and does your lifestyle as a comedian make it difficult to adhere to your newly healthy lifestyle?
That's a good question. It would. Well, no, I mean, that was a particular show because a lot of people actually from Summit came and saw my show, so I wanted to go and hang with everybody afterwards.
Is it just because Cantor's is open late?
It's just open late, and it's this classic institution, and they have an enormous menu late night and a bar attached to it, so you can get alcohol and all kinds of food, and so I think that's mainly what it is.
I bet you the clientele at 11, 12 o'clock at night is 90% comedians in that.
That might be the case.
In that restaurant.
But I also just, in general, like, don't typically hang with comics that much. It's for better or worse. I don't know why it's always been, but, and I've been hanging a lot more lately in, like, areas I never thought I would. Hanging in Venice a lot. I used to never want to go to Venice. I used to hate on Venice. I used to say I would rather go to New York. It's faster to get to New York than to drive to fucking Venice Beach. In traffic times, it's a nightmare. But I've been going all the time. Venice and Topanga. It's like my new world. And these are very wellness, health-focused people. None of them drink alcohol. They barely touch weed. I disagree strongly with both of those stances, especially because they're doing all kinds of much more hardcore substances that they call medicine, and they're just making that up to make themselves feel better.
Right. It's like as long as you call it plant medicine.
You call it plant medicine. I mean, definitely you can throw cannabis in there then if it's plant medicine. Yeah. Alcohol, I call it fermented medicine.
It really is, yeah.
Absolutely.
It comes from plants, right?
Yeah, it's true.
You're just fermenting, it's like fermented agave.
Absolutely. We know it's just agave with a little bit of a twist. It's a little bit of a vibe on it.
There you go.
And I enjoy, but they say it's low vibration, and I don't know. For me, it's not. Do you drink?
Seldom. I don't drink a lot, but I
like that you don't have a hard rule at least.
I don't have a hard rule. No. Yeah. I
try not to have a
hard rule about anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
same. Yeah, I think everything in moderation is clearly the way for me, and I just think I don't like when people like make such hard lines. They start to become stubborn.
Exactly.
They start to become closed off, and that's the opposite of what they claim to be.
Yeah, unless you have like a real problem, but I've never had a problem with like alcohol, for example. I've never been addicted to unhealthy food.
Yeah.
I think it's good to. I think and as far as preferences go, I think it's important to always revisit your preferences because you change. Like things change as you age.
100%.
Tastes, for example.
And when I walked into your place, I mean, as much as I'm in control of my food cravings now, I smelled popcorn and almost had a heart attack. I wanted popcorn so bad.
Yeah, Sydney made some really good popcorn.
Yeah, and there was none left. Sydney ate all of it.
She ate all of it.
And so I had some pickles.
You
had a little bit of it.
Yeah. Always have pickles in the fridge. Always pickled.
Love that.
Comes with being Jewish, right? It's like a thing.
We like pickled stuff. I don't know what that is.
It's weird, yeah.
It's very strange that certain people would like pickled items.
Yeah. I've never been to Israel, but you're from there.
Well, my mom is from there. My dad was born there too. My mom is full Israeli. My dad was born there, and I visit a lot.
Yeah, my brothers
I was born here.
And my brothers told me that something that's really unique, no matter what kind of cuisine, no matter what type of restaurant you go to in Israel, one of the starters that you always get pickles. Like pickles,
oh yeah, all kinds of pickles.
Which is odd. You don't
pickled
get that
turnips, pickled pickles.
Yeah.
It's delicious though. It really kind of like I think it wakes up the palate.
Maybe that's what it is.
I mean, it's just a little bit of spice in there, a little bit of tingle.
Yeah. So you said
gets the people going.
Gets the people going.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a amuse-bouche, I think. Well, that's the French term. But,
for what?
It's not quite an appetizer, but it whets the appetite. It gets the juices flowing. You know?
Yeah, I get that, but also that's a weird term. A lot of things in French, like I respect the like fanciness of what they're saying, but I can't say it. Like I don't think I can pull it off.
Yeah,
amuse-bouche. I mean, also we're not making it sound like French probably amuse-bouche, and they're like, damn, that's sexy. We're amuse-bouche. We just make it sound very American, and it's not the best sounding stuff.
No.
French doesn't sound good in an American accent.
No, we don't sell it as well.
No, we do not at all.
Certainly not.
We're afraid of laying on that vibe.
Yeah.
Which is another weird thing because these days you really can't do accents. Like people get very offended if people do accents.
Is that true?
I mean, especially for a lot of groups, you're not supposed to do accents. But yet, if you speak the language, you can do the accent.
Do you do accents? Is that part of your repertoire?
Yeah, I mean, I started as an impressionist. I would do all kinds of celebrity impressions.
I didn't know that.
Characters and all kinds of stuff. And then, there's a lot less of it you can do now. But like, it's interesting. Like, you can I speak Spanish pretty well, not perfectly, but I can get by. And you can't just speak in a Mexican accent, for example, would be offensive, but you can do it if you're speaking Spanish.
Interesting.
No es un problema de hablar como esto, but I can't just talk like this without the words. It's very weird. It comes off wrong.
Interesting.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
You can lay in if you're doing the voice. I guess they know you've put in the work. You put the time in.
As a comedian, though, don't you feel? Do you feel that some things should be left sacred to the arena of comedy? That we should, because I feel like we've become so sensitive as a society, and things that were funny that made it into movies 10, 15 years, the movies that we grew up on, like you couldn't make those movies today.
Yeah, it's really true. I do agree. I mean, I think comedians should be given the most leeway of any art form because they literally are the ones speaking truth to power and doing it in a way that twists reality, but it shines light on reality too. They twist like with the phrasing and they surprise you with their words, but it really just shines light on reality. There's the old quote, if you're going to speak truth to power, make them laugh or they'll kill you. Like from the beginning of time, basically, comedians were the ones who got to speak truth to power. And that's why it's such an effective way to cut through a lot of the bullshit and a lot of the noise. And I do agree with that. That said, that doesn't mean society can't evolve and comedians shouldn't evolve with it. So I feel like we should be given a lot more leeway. But I think that just means that we should be allowed to be like at the back of the pack of evolving. But it doesn't mean we shouldn't evolve. Like if people move past certain things, we shouldn't be like, I'm still telling racist jokes because that's the way I was raised.
Yeah.
As a comedian. Like, no, you can move past certain things, but we should be allowed to, I think, be last because it's nice to be able to comment on the world and really bring up the questions of if we're doing too much, changing too much too fast. So it's tough because, a lot of the comedians that have come under fire recently, like I defend them in general, but I also disagree with certain jokes, certain things, So like I think Chappelle, he's one of the GOATs, he's one of the greatest of all time. I think sometimes people overuse GOAT because you can't have multiple GOATs. If it's the greatest, it's only one. So I like to say he's one of a group of GOATs.
Yes, he's one of a group of GOATs for sure.
But then some of his jokes, I think, some of his like more controversial jokes are a little lazy and unnecessarily offensive to a group. Like I think if you're
gratuitous.
Yeah. Like I think if you're gonna risk offending a group of human beings that especially are marginalized, make sure the joke is very funny. Make sure it's really worth it. Make sure it's this really clever take that really makes people think.
Yeah, but isn't it all subjective anyway? I mean, like, who are we to judge?
Yeah.
We're the elites. Like, as much as I hate to call myself that, like, I live in Los Angeles. I'm in the 1%. Like,
won the lottery of the world. That's
exactly.
True. Yeah, that's true.
I'm a tall, white guy.
Yeah, second best looking guy in the room. Like
second best looking guy in the room.
Yeah,
I've got my limbs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you and I both attracted and almost got dates with a very famous woman that was the same woman, and we didn't realize we asked the same woman out. And
we did.
She ditched both of us.
I withheld that information until I got the intel from you.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you did.
Remember, because I asked you how it went.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
We were at a party, and we both met on separate occasions.
Yep.
Me first. It's very attractive.
2 different parties.
It was the same party. It was like
not the same night.
Not the same night.
The same event.
Same event.
Right.
But 2 different nights.
Yes.
Both met the same girl.
Yep.
Very attractive. So you would call her a celebrity, right? She's a celebrity. Yeah.
I would say in the once you pass 20 million followers, I think you're a celebrity.
Yeah. Yeah. She was definitely a celeb, but gave us both the runaround.
Yeah, gave us both her number, said yes to going out with both of us, and then just did not follow up and did it in like not the coolest way.
Yeah.
Just ghosted.
And we're different enough that it's like...
Yeah, we cover a lot of spectrum
here.
Yeah, we
do, right?
Yeah, we cover a lot of spectrum. I don't quite get it. I mean, I don't know what you think went wrong with yours. Tell your part first, because I think mine's more extreme.
Well, I got her number.
Yep.
We had really great chemistry at the party.
Yep.
So we were talking and very seamlessly, effortlessly got the digits, followed up the next day or two. I can't remember exactly when. Super into it, responded right away. No, seemingly like very...
You didn't ask her out yet. You just got the number like kind of casually as friends and then started flirting on text or what?
Yeah, we started flirting on text, but the issue was I was leaving town. I was like leaving town the following like day or two. So I didn't really have a lot of time to like, we couldn't actually like connect. We couldn't make a date because I was leaving town. And you know what they say, time kills all deals, right? So I was kind of nervous about that, but I made sure that while I was out of town, I kind of touched base with her and I would send her like a photo of something that we had talked about that would evoke, the conversation that we had. Just
Your
to
dick.
Kind of keep it. Yeah, dick pic.
I get that. We talked about my dick. I thought you might want to see it.
No,
I get that.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Don't do that.
No, I've never sent one.
Yeah, I mean, neither. Definitely not. It's like, I don't know who would do that.
Yeah, I don't want to you don't want to like let somebody see the grand prize
there you go.
ahead of time.
There you go.
Then you got nothing left to show them. It's exactly. Like the last thing you can ever offer somebody. You don't give it away at the gate.
You don't give it away at the gate. No, you do not. So I was out of town. I finally made it back to LA, and I was like actually super excited because that whole time we had been somewhat in touch, like not over communicating because I didn't want to. You don't want to like create a pen pal. Like you want them to stay interested, right? Mm-hmm. And you want to keep some degree of mystique. You want to leave them, I think, and I'm not an expert in this topic, but like wanting more. You don't want them to get bored via text.
Right. Yeah, I think you could maybe call that chapter of your life story from pen pal to penis pal. You want to just add that is. What depends what definition is. You know what I mean? Get in there.
Exactly. So I came back to LA and I was super actually excited to meet up with her. I was looking forward to it. And then I tried to put something on the calendar with her. And she just like flaked. And then I was like, all right, well, let me know.
Like didn't show up to a date?
No. She just she said that she had like some big work thing happening, like some big release coming out and like didn't have time this week and would touch base with me later in the week to make something happen.
Right. And you were hoping she'd make time for your big release coming out, which
there you go. There you go.
I get that.
And never followed up. And actually that was my second time like following up with her. The first time, I forgot this part of the story. When I actually had met her, she was really flirty with me. I got her information. So I totally missed this part of the story. But when I first met her, got her information, she was super flirty. I asked her out. She told me that she had just started seeing somebody and she had failed to tell me that at the time, like when we were chatting that night. And so 6 months later or like 4 months later, that's when I shot my second shot. I literally said I'm going to shoot my shot a second time.
You just thought of it randomly.
I was like, hey. Well, first I was like, I was like, hey, how are you? And she responded right away, really warm. And then I was like, I'm going to shoot my shot a second time. Are you around? Would love to like grab a. If you're single, like all respect to if you're in a relationship, but if you happen to be single, like would love to go out. And she was like, yeah. And that's when I ended up having to go out of town. And I followed because she told me that she was single. I followed up when I came back to LA, and she basically ghosted me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, yours is annoying because it's a lot of time put in.
It was a bit of time, yeah.
Mine was truncated into a very small amount of time, but it made it like more hurtful. You at least had the like slow drip.
Yes, the slow drip.
And I had the like smack in the face, like pan in the face.
Yeah, it was annoying because of the built up expectation, which I shouldn't have, like, I should have tempered that in myself. Like, we've had a relationship expert on the podcast in the past, Amy Chan, who has this great concept called future tripping, which I think we all tend to do. Have you heard of this?
No.
So future tripping is like when you meet a girl, whether it's on an app or in person, and even before you get to the first date, your brain is writing this narrative of all the things.
It's the girl of your dreams, and this is the girl you want to be with.
Exactly. So it's called like future tripping. And it's really bad because when you get to that first date, or even if it's a second or third date, right?
Oh, it's a human, and it's not all those flaws you didn't picture in your
Well, also, you're arriving to the date with all of these expectations and this narrative that you've written and all this stuff.
Now you got a nervousness about you. Now you got to like,
about you, and she's just showing up to like, see if she's gonna.
This is a coffee, bro.
Have
I don't
fun.
know.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So it's future tripping, not a good thing. And that's I was doing that.
Interesting. Yeah, and so for me, similarly, this girl, I threw a party at my house when the pandemic was like ending, called my Life is Back party for my birthday, and she randomly ended up at my house. Like a friend of a friend brought her. And so I just met her, like I was like drunk and stoned at my like literally I think it was at the charcuterie board or like at the like veggie dip tray doing my old thing, and I just like met her briefly. There was nothing. I was like not trying to hit on, and I thought she was way younger than she was, so I was like not gonna do it. And then I saw her at this event.
Oh, so that was your second time?
That was my second time, yeah, meeting her.
Got it.
And so I reminded, and from across the room, just from my profile, I didn't recognize it was her yet. I was like, that's so much my type. This might be like the girl. I'm always like looking like, this might be the girl of my dreams. Like my brain is very hopeless romantic despite decades of failure that you would think would break it down.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I had maybe like a 5, 6, 7, 10 years where I kind of lost some of my hopeless romanticism, and it's back now as I'm getting older. I'm like, I need to now really settle it down and find that girl. And after a failed engagement on 2, I'm like, nah, I'm torn between having fun and also just finding like the one. Another good chapter title: From Having Fun to Finding the One.
It is good, yeah.
God, I gotta write these down.
That's a good book title.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, it is.
Write that shit.
And so, well, I need to probably find the one first. Otherwise, it would be a very open-ended book.
Fair, right.
That's the first half. I have had a lot of fun and I've got no insights. Good luck and good night. And so I went up to her and I realized it was her. And so I reminded her that we had met. And we instantly hit it off. She was like laughing hysterically at everything I was saying. And then she like, somebody called her over and then she kept looking over at me and smiling. And I'm like, these are signs of like obvious like interest. And so I got her number because it was kind of like at a networking event though. So that wasn't weird to do or hard to do. And then after I got her number, we were talking another 10 minutes later, we were getting wine or drinking some wine together. And she's like, you know, I went through a breakup recently, probably from the guy she'd started seeing. And I'm just like looking for like a nice person who's like actually gonna like show up. And I said, I would love to take you out sometime if you'd be interested. And she took maybe what was like, I should have realized maybe it was a little bit too long of a pause, but she thought about it and she goes, yeah, let's do that. Why not? I didn't love the why not. It's not exactly like, oh, boiling over enthusiasm. Exactly. Why not is a lot different than like, fuck yeah. So already I was like, okay, why not? But okay, you know, well, and I was like, I'm a really nice guy, I promise you. And she goes, hey, you seem and you're hilarious, and I bet we'd have a great time. I'm like, okay, cool. And I Googled her age this time at the end of the thing, and I was praying it was going to be in her 30s, and it was. I'm like, okay, thank God. This, I think, is plausible now. Yet I'm in my 40s, and I felt like this is the one thing that made me insecure about it. Even though my new svelte self, and I felt good in my new posture, I was like, I just hope she doesn't like think I'm just like too old. And so that was in my head. And the next night, I called her, and I just didn't think about what I was going to open with because I'd like to be in the moment. I'm an improviser. I flow. But I chose in this one moment the wrong thing to open the phone with. My insecurity spilled through. She goes, hello? And I go, hello, young lady. Like, I was trying to sound cute and sexy. Like, in my head, it was like, hello, young lady. But I think it came out more like, hello, young lady. Would you like a Werther I've had in my pocket? Like, it just sounded like old Jewish man. The posture was crumpling down again, turning into an old Russian woman. And her response, though, I think was far too drastic. She could have just been like, okay, hey. She instead went, yee, and hung up the phone.
Oh, my God.
Straight up hung up the phone on me. And I was like, that can't be what happened, right? We're not in high school. So I called back, and a dude picks up. And I go, hi, is blank there? And he goes, you got the wrong number, bro. This is my phone. And I'm like, this is what literally in high school, like a girl would be like, I can't talk to him. Pick up the phone and say it's your phone.
That's insane.
Like made up that. So I unfollowed her on Instagram, and I'm disappointed in her. But also, I could have came with a stronger.
Had
line.
she followed you? Like when
No.
after you'd followed her? No.
She follow you?
No.
Yeah, that's also.
But I never followed her.
People. Oh, really?
Wow. Don't do that.
And that's the thing too. So I built up. What was it called? Future
tripping.
Future tripping. I had done that without having asked her out because after she was at my party, I started following her like a year and a half, 2 years earlier, and so. You know, you have your like Instagram crushes. So like she was an Instagram crush for like 2 years. I was like, man, that would be a dream. I'll never see her again. And then I saw her. So I was like, I'd built it up as like a idyllic situation, even more than like in real life. And then when it came real, she said yes. I'm like, wow, I've really transformed my life in so many ways. And then I was brought right back down to life.
Bro, you want to hear something crazy? When I first moved to LA, I was like 23 or something when like around the time that I had first moved to LA back in 2005. I forget exactly how old I was, but I went to a party and I was on TV at the time. I was working for Al Gore. I was one of the hosts of Current TV back in the day. Yeah. And so
we love your work here at Current. Yeah. Max, we love having you here.
Yeah, good. That was good.
Thank you.
And so I used to go to parties, and occasionally there would be like I would get, like my photo taken or something by somebody who knew that that I was like one of the hosts on Current TV. And I was at this one party one time in downtown, and I saw this. I was like at the Velvet Rope, like just waiting to get in, and across the way, past the bouncers, I saw this girl. Maybe she was like with a friend or two, but basically also like at the Velvet Rope waiting to get in, and she was so pretty to me. Like you see somebody from across the room, and you're like,
I gotta talk to that girl.
You gotta talk to that girl. Like internally, like your jaw's on the floor. She's like, she hits the constellation of like, she checks all the boxes of all the things that you, whatever, physically like. And this is like more than a decade ago. I don't know how if I was 23, she must have been like 18 or something or younger. I have no idea. But I remember being just like in awe, going home the next morning, logging on to, because I figured she had to have been somebody famous. She just had this like glow about her. So I went on to Getty Images, which is like where you find like all the parties and celebrities and whatever, paparazzi shots. Yeah. And I knew about it because I had occasionally made it onto there, and I found out her name, and it was her. And
wait, it was the same girl?
Same girl.
What?
And
the same one we were just talking about.
Same one that we're just talking about.
So that's you had that future trip and started almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, long ass time ago. Damn. But here's the thing: I've barely heard her name since, because I don't consume any of her content. I'm not into her music or anything like that.
I consumed her picture content.
Content, yeah. But it's like her name had been like embedded in the back of my consciousness.
Good name too.
Yeah, for years, and like I would never forget like a face.
It's Judi Dench. Can we just tell everybody?
Yeah.
That Dench dame, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she was you know what we should do? We should take a selfie of the two of us and both text it to her at the same time.
Send it to her. Or as you suggested before, call her.
Yes.
Like live on the show.
Oh my God.
Oh man, living in LA is so fun.
It's so weird.
Yeah. Super weird.
It's very interesting. Yeah, that's why and I've been, I was on the road traveling for 15 years, headlining comedy clubs around the globe, and I just took off the last 2 years off the road, and I've been here all the time. So it's been like immersing in it. What
do you think about dating in LA? Dating in LA, it's such a weird place.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've never dated anywhere else, so it's all I know. I have Stockholm syndrome from my own city. I don't know how to compare it to anything.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, people who are not from here originally. Where are you from?
Grew up in New York.
People say it's the worst. I mean, I think it's okay, but yeah, people are pretty flaky though. It's like, I'm on that Raya app, that like celebrity dating app, and you match with like stunning human beings, like a lot of them. Like I'm very happy with my match rate, even though granted, the age of my match rate is not in the age range I'm hoping for most of the time. But, as soon as someone's in their 20s, I'm like, there's no match happening. Someone's in their early 30s, very unlikely. 50s, 100%.
50s.
100%.
Hey, no shade against 50-year-old women.
I recently,
shade.
No, absolutely. I was dating one for a long time.
But obviously your target age range is like incorporates 50, right?
Yeah, I got a big, absolutely.
Yeah, wide.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're casting a wide net.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing is that I think I do want a family, and that's not a great age range for having kids. But, and I'm on this app, and you match with a lot of people, and then they end up like you message once or twice, if at all, and then it's just nothing comes of it. Yeah. I've almost met nobody from it. And now there's a feature on this app called Just for Friends, where you can be on this app. It's a dating app just for friends. And Max, do you know how deeply offensive it is to not match with somebody who is just there for friends? I mean, this person doesn't even not want to fuck me. Do you understand how painful that is?
Make it make sense.
It's a humbling town, that's for sure.
It is a humbling town.
And then getting older is so weird. There's like comedians who like, I was like a mentor. They looked up to me and like, like asked me with like almost begged me to like do like their podcast when they first were starting. And I'm like, nah, I guess I'll give a bone to this young kid is now making like $20-30 million a year touring. And I'm like, if you ever need an opener, let me know.
Damn.
It's wild.
Do you plan to be here long term?
LA?
Yeah.
Yeah, unless work, I was trying to get the Daily Show hosting job. It's still open technically. I think
you'd be great at that.
Thanks. It's really like a dream job, and it was going to go to, rumor has it was going to go to Hassan Minhaj, and then based on like we were talking about earlier, he crossed the line that comedians maybe shouldn't cross, and he might have messed it up for himself, so it might be open again.
I don't know that story. What?
Basically, he's got in trouble recently. He's an old buddy too, but it's a public story. He like won like a Peabody Award for like speaking truth to power through his art, and he was on the Daily Show forever, and he hosted the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and so he wasn't just a comedian telling like personal stories. He was doing like stories about public figures and about being discriminated against as a minority. He apparently was making up a lot of the stories.
Whoa.
And he like said, "Oh, it's emotionally true, even if it's not factually true, and that's not really a thing."
Damn, kind of like Brian Williams. Remember him?
Yeah, absolutely.
NBC Nightly News.
Yeah, and he ruined his career over that. I mean,
you can't just like make up stuff if you're a journalist.
You can't make up stuff, and so like, if you're a comedian telling a story about meeting a girl at a bar, you can fudge some details to make it funnier, but you can't talk about real life people or say a hate crime happened that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So he's in. I feel bad for him. He's a very nice person. And he just thought that was okay to do, but when you're trying to be like an arbiter of truth and trying to take over the Daily Show hosting job or whatever, it's just, I don't think that's the move. And so that's kind of wild.
You'd be perfect for that job.
Thanks. I was trying to get it. I mean, I'm still technically trying to get it, I guess.
Are they still doing guest hosts?
Well, right now because of the strike, they've been shut down.
Oh.
And I don't know if they're coming back now. The writer's strike is done because the actor's strike, there's not actors in their show. So I guess technically they probably can come back now. And I don't know if they are or not. I'm still on strike as an actor, but as a host, I'm not on strike. As a stand-up, we have no standards whatsoever anyway. So I can just keep getting paid with chicken wings that I will have a little microdose of. I'll have like 3 bites of one wing, consider myself full, go home and cry myself to sleep. Microdose that nutrition, baby.
That's the play, yeah. Wow. What a time to be alive.
It's wild, right? Yeah, it's so wild. And I've been in this like paradigm shift that I've been talking about, but not just with like food and my outlook and my posture and the way I'm like going about the world and I'm still struggling a little bit like regaining my work focus. The world's been so wild and so like depressing and so much going on that I've just been like really enjoying like hanging out and making new friends and having new experiences and going to Venice, a place I never wanted to go to, and being open to, like becoming friends with people that are like opposite human beings of like most human beings in great ways and in some ridiculous ways, but just like these alternate modalities in every aspect of life, the way they talk, dress, speak about everything, the way they eat, the way they party, cuddle puddles are a thing that's in my life now.
Wild.
Thought the name was insane. Most people don't even know what it means. I didn't know what it means. It sounded way too touchy-feely and soft for me until you've got beautiful girls cuddle puddling on you and melting on a shag carpet. And yeah, you got to kind of put up with like a couple of dudes like laying across your like ankles or whatever. But they got girls on them too, and it's fine. And you got to compromise in life if you want. And it's a lovely dream experience. But I've been really like diving into like trying a different way to live, because on the beautiful side, a lot of these people that are more like wellness focused, and a lot of them are sound healers and practitioners and yoga instructors and have this wellness company and are CEO of this thing that's, changing the way people experience their health and all these cool, different, new frontiers of things. They're very interesting people. They're very loving. They're a lot more affectionate and complimentary and calling me hotties. Again, I'm very focused on that. I like that affirmation. And
is that one of your love languages?
Yeah, being called a hottie. Yeah, I guess so. And nipple rubs.
Nipple rubs.
That also, even though that's not my strong suit either, because I have to do more push-ups for sure.
Yeah.
Because, the nipples are not one of my stronger items. But then again,
if the ladies are into it.
Yeah, people are drawn to them. I don't
give
understand.
them what they want.
It's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true. Why deny the public of what they need? It's a product that America needs. But then on the flip side, they like do everything different. A lot of these people are like wearing like, they don't wear shoes anywhere, and they do that. A lot of them are wearing these like socks with like fingers on them. You put each toe into a hole. They don't understand it.
I mean, especially in LA, this part of LA where I live, West Hollywood, that's like instant birth control.
Yeah, 100%.
Women repellent, like 101.
Yeah. I don't get it, but like, and like they don't go to bars. They go to Air One, this like healthy market to eat, and that's the hang. Like we were at like a party, and like, hey, should we all meet up at Air One? And like, literally, we just met up and had salads.
It's a supermarket.
It's a supermarket with a couple tables outside, and they made it sound like it was the hottest vibe. I was like, this is what we're excited about.
Yeah, it's wild to hear you talk about Air One, because Air One, it's such a like an institution, but it's so weird at the same time. It's like this incredibly overpriced. Yeah,
I bought like 3 soups and like a few like bags of like healthy pop things that I could have a whole bag of snacks for like 50 calories. I'm like, this works in my life. And it was like $300. I was like mind blown.
It's insane.
It was mind blown. And then they came in like jars that like they marked it up $3 a jar. Then I have to return the jar to get the $3 back. It's a clever technique. But
it is.
Cutting my fingers on mason jars. Like mason jar in general makes no fucking sense. We've seen regular tops of jars where the top of the lid is attached to the rest of the lid. And there's not this like very sharp, sawed off like circle that comes apart from it. Why would you want a 2-part lid?
What's the point of that?
It makes no sense.
None.
And so I'm dealing with that difficulty. And then, but very lovely people. Again, they're a lot of my new friends. But then, like, they also try to manifest too many things.
Yeah, way too much manifestation.
It's
going
like
on. Way too much calling in.
Yeah, exactly right. It's like, feel free. Of course, manifest your dream, your biggest dream, manifest your future, your romantic partner, do some calling it into existence. I literally heard a girl at Air One say, I'm calling in the perfect apartment. And I'm like, just search for it. There's apps. Yeah. You can put in the exact criteria of the apartment you want and click search. Yep. Can you leave the universe to the bigger things? Is everything else on the planet going so well, you think God needs to chime into your apartment search? It's just an excuse to be lazy a lot of times. Yeah. And also, I don't know, with all respect to my new friends, what they do really for work day to day. It seems like nobody has jobs.
Nobody knows.
They're in Ibiza every other day. Ibiza, Tulum, Ibiza, every conference, every festival, every party. Who has jobs? I don't get it. And instead of me judging that like I normally would and continuing my work life, I'm now going all these places and doing these things and not working. And my posture is great. I look good, and I'm making no money.
Making no money. Yeah. I don't understand how they do it either. It's definitely a weird world out there. And I have a lot of friends in that community, and I partake at times.
Yeah, I see you pop up in the Instagram stories sometimes.
Yeah, I pop up here and there, but there's a line where, whether it's the cuddle puddles.
Have you done any cuddle puddles?
No.
Dude, I'm telling you, I was the biggest hater. I'm a comedian. I'm a sardonic, skeptical, sarcastic comedian. I would never. And then all of a sudden, it's the loveliest experience. My only problem is I'm like catching feelings in these cuddle puddles. You got a girl that's like, do you mind if I cuddle up on you right there? I'm like, yeah, you can. Some of the girls melted in you for 2 hours. And I'm asking these people out. I'm like, I think I'm falling in love. And they're like, we just lay on top of anybody. I'm like,
yeah, it's like oddly platonic and intimate at the same time.
A lot of people in this community seem to be poly. A lot of them claim to be poly. Yet I see nothing happening. I have a term for it. It's prude poly.
Prude poly.
I've seen, I guess on paper, somewhere people are hooking up with a lot of people in non-monogamous relationships. At the same time, it's a cuddle puddle, then a handshake. Good night, sir. I mean, not quite a handshake, but you get the point.
I'm actually a one girl kind of guy.
Really?
Like, yeah.
I mean, historically, I've always been too, except for, sometimes on tour and things go down.
Yeah, if you get lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. But like as far as dating, I'm not going to turn down.
You're not going to turn it down.
I'm not going to turn down. There's 2 of us. Is that okay? No, listen, I'm so sorry. I can't even. I'd like one at a time, please. Otherwise, if you wait 5 months, you can call me. I want to make people happy again. I'm just a people pleaser.
Yeah,
and if that's what gets people through the day and the hard world out there, and,
Yeah, altruism.
Absolutely.
Altruism.
Yeah, it's about radical altruism. That's a great way to put it. Make myself feel better about my mistakes of the past.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And but I think for dating I would be that way. I don't think I'd want to like be in a relationship and then also be open. I don't think that would be for me. But when single, I mean, when in Rome, baby.
Yeah, when in Rome. I know a lot of people who've dabbled in the whole poly thing, and it never works out. Like,
really?
It works out for a time.
Oh, really?
You know? I'm not judging, though. Like, if
no,
people
you're just taking the wind out of my dreams.
I mean, by all means, attempt it. I just think that...
Do you have more popcorn, at least?
I may
On the way out, I'd like some popcorn.
Yes. I just find what I've seen, what I've observed is that inevitably what you expect to happen always tends to happen. Is that somebody, the third wheel always tends to catch feels, or, you know, there's like a crossfiring of emotions.
And even though it's not stereotypically male, I'd probably be that third wheel catching a feel. I'd be like, hey, mind if I chime in here? Or, oh, no, you two just enjoy. I'll make popcorn.
Imagine being the guy, like the third wheel with the popcorn in the corner.
I mean, there's worse fates, but it's not ideal.
Right.
There's worse fates.
But yeah, the Venice culture thing is definitely, it's interesting. There's a lot of like wellness, like hyper obsession. Well, I guess being obsessed is always kind of but it's like, there's a lot of what I've heard referred to as holistic derangement syndrome. That's a term I feel like you really like.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's basically this obsession with wellness, but almost to like a detrimental degree. You know, this obsession with getting everything right.
Yeah, counting every single aspect of you do. Everything's a different modality. It's how does it only bring the healthiest thing to the party. It's like, well, when are you also like indulging in some of the other enjoyments in life?
Yeah, like actually being intimate, right? Like as opposed to the faux intimacy of the cuddle puddle.
It is true. That is true. It's like instead of connecting with one person, you're just like melted into a pile. It's almost like we're afraid to even offend. Like people are so afraid to be offended. We're afraid to even like offend anybody by like being interested in somebody. Well, then I'm ruling out the other 9 people that wanted to lay on top of me.
There you go. But you're a fan.
I mean, I've been enjoying it, I gotta say.
Damn.
And I have a room in my house built for it. It's well, you know, during the pandemic, I created the world's first virtual comedy venue called Nowhere Comedy. It's now expanding soon to Nowhere Studios, and I kind of reinvented live touring, where you can now tour and sell tickets as an artist without leaving your town, and people can buy tickets and interact with you, and you see and hear them, and they see and hear you like in a real venue. And most of our shows during the pandemic were virtual from the comedian or the performer's home computer, but we built a studio to do it where you're surrounded by 30 feet of video screens and you see them enormous surrounding your field of vision, and we built it in my house. So all of a sudden I have like Bill Burr and Sarah Silverman coming and performing in my home, like privately just to me, with people on screens around the world behind them. But this room is also my screening room / psychedelic cuddle puddle melt room, and I just had my first experience of that at my own house, and it was heaven. I literally had beautiful girls laying on my arms and seeing visuals of jellyfish that I brought up on the screen around me, and it was just like such a connected, flowing thing that it was lovely, and I can recommend. That said, I've stopped dating like I was in the months after my breakup, and now I just have a bunch of very pretty platonic friends that don't have, they're not even swiping on the just for friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How was you mentioned that these are like fairly new friends, like
a lot of them.
Yeah. What was that like? What was your entree into that? Like, what catalyzed your entree into that world? Was it like you just met somebody who kind of brought you into it, or
no? Basically,
your newfound interest in health and wellness.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of that, and maybe, you know, I don't know. Maybe I just because I'm more my, as they would say, my vibration is more about that now. I would.
You raised your vibration.
Raise my vibration, you know. But I would just say, like, I don't know. I guess my vibes are more that way. But one of my very dear friends, this girl, is just in this community and like has a ton of really cool friends, and we've been very close friends, but just like siloed, just us for like 7 years. We met in Israel actually, and then she just started inviting me. So she invited me to this one really cool day. It was an acid trip we had actually in Topanga, and where I communicated literally with my deceased father, like in the wind for like 10 minutes. It was this mind-blowing experience.
Wow.
And beautiful day. And then that night ended in my second cuddle puddle. We all were like hanging out and connected, and she just started inviting me to one or two of these things. And, you know, because I'm the best looking guy in this room, at least. Yeah. You know, and that's obvious, and it hurts you a little bit to admit it.
Very,
but yeah, you get that. You know, there's a little bit of pain, but also admiration. I appreciate that, Max.
Definitely. Yeah.
And they just started inviting me to other things, and now I've become friends with a lot of these people. And because for whatever reason, like I haven't, I have some very close friends from college that are in high school that are still my best friends, but I don't really have a community that I hang out with a lot. And so they just started inviting me to more things, and they're so welcoming and make me feel really good about myself, and they're lovely to hang with, and they're great looking people that make me feel good about myself, and they tell me that I look good and call me hotties and touch my nipples. And so
yeah, what's not to love?
Yeah. So I've just been enjoying hanging with people that are like really like what is so appealing to me, all jokes aside about it, is, that first day, that acid trip day. I've only done acid twice in my life, and this was the second time. And there was a theme. They set an intention. I'd never done a drug before when an intention was set. And it really changed the game. Like, I always just did them like to party or just to have a trip or an experience. And we set an intention that day of manifesting heaven on earth.
Wow. And
what a lovely idea. And like, I realized like we all put everything into the future, all of like our ultimate dreams. We picture them happening one day, and when I get to whatever, or even when I die and I'll be in heaven. And we created the theme of heaven on earth and set that intention. And all of a sudden, I'm like lightly tripping on this incredible drug that makes you see different things in a different way. And I'm in this beautiful, like, grassy property out in Topanga with rolling hills and a private creek. And I'm talking to my dad who passed, and there's beautiful women in skimpy clothing walking around with flowing things. There's people in like a blow-up white balls, like rolling and banging into each other, like playing silly games and cool music and delicious food. And it felt like I was in a dream, or I was in heaven while living. And I just realized when you can lose, your best friend, aka my father, suddenly with no warning, and a lot of the things that and you can, obviously life is that fragile, and your own life could disappear at any moment. It makes it a little hard to feel motivation sometimes for working, and that's what I'm still trying to figure out, like getting that real drive back when you're living heaven on earth. Why work harder? But if life can go away at any moment, I want to experience like idyllic, amazing, beautiful, connected experiences right now. And so if I can experience that now, if I get invited to go to a thing, I'm just like looking at it and it's a sensory overload of loveliness. I don't know how you say no to that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's so powerful. It's also, I think, really important to acknowledge that like nothing is guaranteed, and that this could all be taken away at any moment. And I don't mean just like the physical stuff that we're surrounded by, but life itself. I mean, we're seeing this now at the brink of a third world war.
100%.
Just that like there are forces out there beyond your control, and ultimately you are vulnerable AF, and you gotta kind of make your peace in the here and now, and do what it is that you can to procure better health, and make sure that the people in your life that you love know that you love them. You know that they love you, and and to do what you can,
100%. Yeah, you only really get one guaranteed go around, and heaven might not be real, and it's all likelihood it's maybe not real. Yeah. So at least we don't have any proof of it, really, even though I did communicate with my dad. So there's something out there, I think. But so yeah, not just on the brink potentially of a third world war, if God forbid things in Israel and Gaza get much worse and involve Iran, and then China and Russia are going to hop on, and then the U.S. and our allies are going to hop on the other side of it. And but even just as it is now with this conflict, it's like we're literally battling terrorism, we're battling evil, we're battling barbarism. It's like we're still in the dark ages. Only the dark ages now are like endorsed by people on Instagram that don't know what they're talking about, being like, yeah, I support the bad side, I support the random slaughter. It's like, what? We're living, we think we're so advanced because we have technology and because we have some countries in the world that have extra luxuries, and even in those countries, though, there's also abject poverty everywhere and people hungry. And then imagine how we're even still lucky to be in the version of poverty in this country and not like starving in a field in Africa or in a desert somewhere. And so we really are living in a time that's very unevolved. We still have people with very primitive beliefs and very backwards ways of seeing things, and throwing people off rooftops for being different. I mean,
it's insane.
It's insane. And so from that lens, you really do have to realize that, like, I think it's like this interesting duality where we want to do what we can to make the world better and hopefully evolve us so future generations, who probably in our lives are not going to see full-on world peace, certainly, but maybe future generations will if we can evolve. But also, it's so important, I think, to do that work during the day, like put in the hours, and then be able to clock out. That's a big realization I had, because I used to like take the pressure of the world on my shoulders like around the clock, and it would stress me out a little bit. And I'd be like, how can you rest but if you realize you're not going to fix everything in your lifetime, you're just doing your part, then I had the realization, like, you watch even like a show like Game of Thrones, which gives you like a sense of like what battles would be like back in the days. Like any tale which has intense battles, there's also the scene then when the battle's done for the day and they retreat to like the caverns and the taverns, and they're drinking casks of beer and getting drunk and then hooking up and having great times, and they do it all again the next day. It's like we all deserve, even if we're in the midst of the hardest, craziest things ever we're confronting in our personal lives or in the world, we all deserve time off at the end of the day, because you're not going to solve it. So we'd go crazy if our whole lives were just the negative or just the hard work. You need the fun and the release and all of that.
Yeah. I mean, I truly believe that changing the world starts with changing you.
Yeah.
Like looking inward and changing you first.
Yeah.
I was a huge fan growing up of Krishnamurti, Jiddu Krishnamurti, whose whole thing is like, well, I think one of his books is literally called "You Are the World," and it's essentially that you can't.
It's referring to me when I was fatter again.
Yeah, basically.
I get that.
You can't enact change in the world if you yourself, if you haven't tamed the inner asshole,
Yeah.
And that all the trauma that we're seeing on the global scale, all the traumatizing, the violence, the savagery that we're seeing on the global scale, is a manifestation of the savagery, the trauma, the undealt with trauma that we all have internally that's being undealt with. It's the same. It's like the same thing that will lead the same forces that compel pro-terrorism protests or rallies, if you want to call them that, in the West, supporting the horrors that are going on in the Middle East. I mean, they all come from. Yeah, they come from this unsettled trauma, I think, that each of us have within. And we all have trauma that from different. We all have different kinds of trauma, different flavors of trauma, but ultimately you have to tend to that first before we can expect the world to change.
Yeah, you got to take care of number one, as my dad used to say. It's like nobody else will care about you, and if you get your house in order, if everybody does that, then everybody's house is going to be in order.
Yeah.
And of course there are forces and people born in circumstances they do need help, but you can't do that well or even care about it if you know that your own life's out of whack. Like, when there's things that you want to care about, when you have the leisure time or the luxury of caring about them, it's easier. But if you're in a time of tumult in your own life, those are times where you're like, I can't watch the news this month. I can't watch the news. I'm too focused on my own. And that's okay. Like it's okay, except maybe in rare times when like shit's really going down. It's okay to like get your own stuff figured out first. And then whatever you have left, you're doing it out of more pureness and not out of obligation. You're doing it in a way that feels good and doesn't feel like you're letting your own self down to help others. There is that. But also I think to some degree, I just don't want that to be an excuse for people to like not help or not do outward things, because I feel like sometimes we let ourselves off the hook a little bit too easily. There's the saying people love where they say, oh, if just one life can breathe easier because of your life, you've succeeded. And I think that's setting the bar way too low. One life? I mean, you give $20 to a homeless guy one time and you're done for life? You clocked out. I helped one life is breathing easier. I think it should be at least 12 lives per person.
At least 12 lives.
12 lives need to be improved by your life minimum. Then you can feel good. Some can affect thousands, but if you're not doing 12, you're a real dick. Life is generally pretty long. You can't just buy lunch for somebody once and feel like you can check out of the goodwill category.
I agree with that. How can people, because I know that you're steeped in this topic, other than, aside from being your stand-up career and your technology startup, you are a commentator on the Young Turks on YouTube.
Yep.
So you're like immersed in what's going on. And you're, of course, also, you have Israeli roots. How can people support what's going on there right now?
I think the most important thing, there's definitely aid organizations that are helping people on both sides that are being unfortunately killed, and you can look those up and find one that's vetted. But the most important thing I think right now with that is to educate yourself and try to find what side of this issue I think is pretty black and white is the morally more correct side. Both sides have issues, and both sides certainly are doing things that are wrong. But I think it's pretty clear when people are being slaughtered in their homes and children and elderly people are being slaughtered, that's not the morally correct side.
No.
And so be vocal about that, because it's the old axiom about, even when the Holocaust, it's like when they came for this group, I was silent. When they came for that group, I was silent. When they came for me, there was no one left to speak up for me. You really need to speak up when you see evil happening and when you see barbaric acts happening. You just speak up a little bit. People say, I don't get involved in politics. Okay, you don't have to make your life getting involved in politics, but it's exhausting to me too. I wish I didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
I feel a particularly strong pull towards it, but at least use your social platforms and talk to your friends and be like, no, come on, let's try to be on the right side of history here.
But is it helpful to post on social media? Because to me, it's sometimes and I've posted, at least in my stories, but it kind of evokes the whole black square thing that happened mid-2020, this very conspicuous but ultimately impotent way of aligning with a cause which, most people found out after the fact wasn't really everything that they had hoped it was.
Certain parts of the particular organization, maybe so, but I still think the cause was very worthwhile. And hopefully you go a little bit beyond social media and go to a rally of the side that you believe is morally correct. Hopefully you maybe donate a few dollars if you can. Hopefully you actually try to help move it forward. But I think social media posting is certainly better than nothing. I think you're actually putting some amount of risk out there and saying to the public, I am okay with losing a few followers, which is far not as important as people losing their lives. And so it's at least saying something publicly and doing a little something. So I do think that it helps. I mean, maybe post on the grid at some point, not just the stories. You know what I mean? Might be a little more helpful. But it's nice that you're doing. A lot of people aren't even doing that, so it's good. And then just educate yourself. I do 2 videos a week for the Young Turks for their Rebel HQ series, right? A lot of them are very funny, but a lot of them are more serious and take on some of these topics. Try to, I read the Yahoo News app each night and just try for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, read through some of the main stories, very short, and just try to care a little bit about what's going on, I think is helpful.
Yeah.
And then make sure you also then decompress and enjoy too. You don't have to take the weight of the world on your shoulders, but you can help out a little.
Yeah. No, I love it. And how do you manage your own mental health during this time? Because you got a lot going on, but also very stressful times, particularly, for all of us certainly, but particularly for you, where you have roots.
Cuddle puddles, baby. I just lay down in fun, relaxing things, and I maybe occasionally take a psychedelic, and I enjoy a little marijuana, or when I really want to let go of it, I do enjoy cocktails or some alcohol, because that's the one thing. When I play basketball, have sex, or drink, it's the only times I'm fully in the moment, and my brain's not going a million miles a minute into other ideas and directions and thinking and worries and concepts. And so it's the one time the 3 times I can really sink in and just be in the moment. They're so immediate, and the other 2 are actual physical things that are immediate. And then alcohol it makes me so just that little dizzy buzz of I'm here right now, and I love that part of it.
So you have a healthy relationship with alcohol.
Yeah, totally. Totally. I just drink when I feel it appropriate. I have bars all over my house I never touch when I'm alone. Maybe an occasional beer is the max I would do alone, but I like to go out and have some fun sometimes. So I think that's important, and I mix my news intake with seeing friends and hanging out and sleeping in when I can and playing with my dog. And human connection, I think, is really important for that stuff, and making sure that, you have a social life, you have a romantic life, making sure you ask out some people that don't ghost you, find people that are mutually interested.
Yeah.
Which I know is a new concept for you and I, but we'll get there.
Yeah. 20 million followers on Instagram, that's a red flag. That is a red,
20 million followers, and also none of us know what she does or how that happened is the real red flag. There's some people with 20 million followers are like, oh, that makes perfect sense. They're like, what they do.
Yeah.
But when it's confusing, it's like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
Did you seduce the world? You flirt with 20 3 million people and then ghost all of them when they actually showed interest?
Well, it is kind of odd that we live in a world where somebody can have 20 million followers on Instagram, and yet neither you nor I, and we're pretty plugged in, right, to the media, have never seen a single frame of content from this person.
Fact.
Yeah,
that is so wild. And there's so many of them. I mean, there's so many people, and everybody's got their niche these days. It's a pretty big niche, 23 million people. But we just got to give a couple more clues, and people are going to be able to figure out who it is, too. I want to so bad. I won't, out of respect that is not mutually deserved, but to take the higher ground.
Sweet person, just a little maybe confused.
Very sweet.
I don't know, or entangled in something.
Overwhelmed.
You never know. Overwhelmed. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. That guy that was at the house, maybe there's a complex situation, and he freaked out at how rub-worthy my nipples are, and he was like, "Listen, if you're gonna hang out with great nipples, I'm out."
Great nipples.
Yeah. Listen, that's just I go with what God gave me, and I do the best that I can.
Jesus, take the wheel.
That's right.
Yeah.
100%.
Love that.
Yeah, man.
Well, dude, this was super fun. Thanks for coming in.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
I feel like we've covered a lot of really important ground.
We have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our dating lives, nipple rubbing, cuddle puddles.
Yes.
20+ pound weight loss.
Yep. 5% body fat dropped. We talked extensively about how my most recent stand-up special, The Mad King, available on YouTube, is sort of my best work in stand-up, and people can really see like my outlook on the world if you enjoyed hearing me here. What we didn't cover that? Okay, but I'm happy for people to know about it now then by accident. And my first special, Neurotic Gangster, is on Amazon Prime, and a lot of people, enjoyed our conversation about that earlier and know that they could watch that. And my game show Idiot Test on Pluto TV, where if they want brain teasers mixed with a lot of trash talk and comedy, I'm really happy for them to know that they can enjoy their life and let loose with my entertainment content and consume my stuff, so they could never say about me
definitely yes.
that they didn't consume one frame of my content. I'd like that corrected as soon as possible.
Exactly. Because you also have 20 million Instagram followers, but...
That's hurtful the way you kind of dug at me with that. Listen, 20 million, 33,000, whatever.
Yeah, it's all good.
I got a couple 100K around different platforms that I don't use anymore.
I'm super excited because I've never seen your stand-up specials.
Oh, really? Oh,
I've
cool.
seen you perform like in person, but I've never seen your special, so I'm excited to check them out.
Thanks, because in person I do a lot of improv and crowd work with the audience and like to keep it real improvisational, but my specials, this is like my take on the world, and my first special is lighter and funnier, Neurotic Gangster, and then The Mad King is like really the wild take, not the wild take, but it's just like my most like unvarnished, like it's the evolution of me as an artist, and I guess the best thing I can say about that, the reason I'm a stand-up comedian is because of George Carlin. He's, I think, the real GOAT of all time, and the way he somehow would take on the world while also being so laugh out loud funny and also being so silly at the same time. A lot of his work really is what inspired me to be a comedian, and I've become friends in recent years with his only child, with
Kelly.
Yeah. You know Kelly?
I met her years ago, like as a panelist on like one of the Young Turks.
Oh,
shows,
wow.
I think.
That's cool.
Yeah.
She's an amazing human, and she tweeted on the official George Carlin Twitter that people need to check out my special. It reminds her of her dad.
Aww. And
it like brought tears to my eyes and made my whole career in stand-up feel worthwhile. And so that literally like reinvigorated my passion for stand-up. I was like feeling a little like untethered and like didn't know if like it was resonating, and just hearing that, like even though my numbers aren't as big, because sometimes more thoughtful, more intelligent work in this very like headline grabbing clickbaity culture gets lost. And I feel like that has been something that's kind of occurred in my career a lot. Still kind of waiting for that moment where like I can find my like intelligent niche of people that actually care about more thoughtful entertainment that still will make you laugh hard. Seeing that made me feel like this is worth continuing, because it's resonating at least to the brains of people that I really respect. And so yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it.
Beautiful, bro. Yeah, I can't wait.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Where can people find you on the gram?
On the gram,
we got to get that following up.
Yeah, we got to get it up at Ben Gleib, and my link in bio on my Instagram has all the links to both my specials and to my game show, and you can go to bengleib.com too. But at Ben Gleib, Gleib, for those of you listening on audio.
What should people watch tonight if they had to pick? Obviously one to start with.
I would watch The Mad King. I was a little heavier. but the thoughts were
still super good looking.
Things that I enjoyed. Thank you very much.
Just a slightly heavier Adonis.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's probably the one thing. And then if you just want to let loose and enjoy, you can watch my game show Idiot Test that I did for years. It was on Game Show Network and Netflix, and we did 210 episodes. And there's a lot. It's brain puzzles that really, you don't need to know trivia. It just challenges how your brain thinks, and it's really fun. But there's not only is that unique as a game show, but then I also just when people get the test wrong, I make fun of them heavily, and it becomes very funny. So you can check that out. And if you want to hang with me actually live, you can come check out nowherecomedy.com. I'm doing soon how soon does this come out? I don't know, but
yeah, soon.
So the 4th annual of my Halloween shows, but I do a monthly show called Gleib Off the Top, Crowd Work and Improvised Madness, and you can come be one of the mad ones, hang out in my virtual town called Madtown, and just literally hang with me with your camera and mic on. It's a really intimate crew that comes to this show, and it's a weird improvisational show. We smoke weed if you want to, or whatever poison you enjoy, or even if it's flavored sparkling water. I always say whatever you enjoy. We do it together on the air and just during the show live, and just have these multi-hour really unique hangs. And that's if you want to dive real deep into a very strange experience. I think you'll enjoy it.
Real deep. Well, love it. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for coming out. Last question. What does living a genius life mean to you?
I love that. I love that question. I think living a genius life means being really is connecting with your deepest self, connecting with the thing that feels most true, that always kind of pings into your brain, and then being thoughtful about what you do with those thoughts, bringing it out into the world in the way that just feels most organic to you, that you feel pulled to do. If you do that thing that always kind of pings at you and always kind of makes you tingle a little bit and resonates, and you can just bring that forward in some way that people at least get to see it or appreciate it, or it doesn't even have to be public, as long as you know that you're doing that and you're being that. Everybody is genius. I'm always so astounded by the genius of everyday people. You see, that's one of the things that blew my mind about reality TV is reality people get a lot of shit for being lame and stupid, but actually the dialogue of most human beings that are being their organic self in a moment. You just see someone hear someone at the market, they're clever, they're interesting. And so just not censoring yourself is very important. Letting yourself go, letting yourself be your most unvarnished, uncensored self. That's genius.
Hey, if you liked that video, you need to check out this one here, and I'll see you there.